But welcome everybody. I am Mayor Jim Forthover, and it is my pleasure to preside over the dedication of Main Street Beach and Park today. If that's what you came for, you're in the right spot. I just want to make a couple notes before I introduce our first speaker, which is that the spot we're standing on now is truly significant to the city of Vermilion. The land between the Vermilion River and Lake Erie was where it converges was settled by the Native Americans and then by the European settlers a long time ago. And one of the reasons why was because of its access to the resources of Lake Erie and fishing, also some inland access to the river, and then also the boat building trade picked up in the river itself. And that boat building trade served a great deal of the lakefront communities along Lake Erie in the way back when. Where we are now was important to them then, and it still is important to us. Today we're here to announce the recent revitalization of this spot and its preservation in the memories of future generations. I would like to introduce the person who had the vision to preserve this location. She used her position as mayor of Vermilion at the time to enlist the help of people, and I'd like to introduce now former Mayor Eileen Buellen.
Thank you, everyone. It's a real privilege to be here today. But first of all, I just want to talk about, it's a real celebration for our project, which began in 2010, so it's been a long time coming. But in 2010, we knew that we would have to raise a lot of money and do a lot of other things just to make it happen. And so Karen and Larry Betcher were the first donors, and after that, several donors came forward, and after that, many donors came forward. So everyone in the community was really, in some way, willing to help us. We went into it, and we met Western Reserve Land Conservancy, and we thought, well, maybe they could help us, and they helped us more than we could have ever done by ourselves. It was a wonderful group, and they still are today. And the one person, I don't think he's here, Andy McDowell, he's here. Okay. Well, I just wanted to thank him specifically because he was with me, I know, through the whole beginning of this happening, and it was just a wonderful person to work with. But now it's 2025, which is hard to believe, and we're still here, and we want to celebrate this project. And you all have to know that Vermilion's, I don't think I have to tell any of you, that Vermilion's a very special place. And the reason it's special is because of the view of our Lake Erie over here. And we knew that from the beginning, and that was kind of the reason why this started to happen. My paper's falling apart. But now we're in 2025, and Main Street Vermilion has a spectacular view of Lake Erie that will be preserved for generations to come and to enjoy. Just no, that's okay. Okay, I just want to thank all the people that helped us make this happen. The people that gave their generous donations, the stores that allowed us to put places in their business that they could donate to people, and of course to all the people that encouraged us. So I just want to thank everyone for what happened. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Eileen. When I took over as mayor from Mayor Buellen, it quickly became apparent to me that regardless what I did, this was going to be the People's Park. It was funded, designed, and built by the people, and it belongs to the people. It is truly the People's Park. Since, as Eileen said, 2010, the park has doubled in size from its original 2 acres when it was the old Main Street Beach, which some of you long-term residents remember as a place that was accessible to the water, but not a whole lot else. Now we're looking at a property that is 4 acres big and has a great deal of amenities and, as Eileen said, a view that that everyone can appreciate. $4 million project. And the revitalization was truly a grassroots project. Of the $4 million, 87% of it was through donations and grants. Many of the donations being personal donations ranged from $200,000 down to $50 and some $25s out of people's pockets. In fact, I'll never forget the somewhat elderly gentleman of modest means who told me, said, I kept a jar on my dresser, and every day at the end of the day I'd put the change in there, and it was dedicated to Main Street Beach. When I got enough, I gave it to the city, and I just wanted to be part of this project. And that's evident of what the rest of the community did with the legion of people who wanted to be part of it is enormous. This beautiful park's revitalization was the definition of a grassroots project. Since former Mayor Buelen's vision of saving this lakefront from commercial development and giving it to Vermilion's visitors and residents, a little slice of the vanishing lakefront access has been saved for the people, by the people. Monetarily and hundreds of volunteer hours who helped plan and design this park, the committee after committee appeared. Fundraisers, helping hands, more volunteers and nonprofits donated fixtures, like our colorful Adirondack chairs over there from Main Street, Vermilion, the recently completed observation patio by Vermilion in Bloom, picnic tables and umbrellas by Shore Thing, native sandstone and proliferation from our own Cleveland quarries, and the anchor and propeller was donated by the Wakefield and Colonel families. And then eventually it was rehabbed. It was rehabbed by, thank you, I got it. It was rehabbed by our own Vermilion Rotary. The automatic, thank you, Garrett. I got it, thanks. You can keep that as a souvenir. The artifacts, as I refer to them, were rehabbed by our own Vermilion Rotary, and the flagpole, a 60-foot beautiful flagpole with the lighting, was donated by the VFW Holland Bond Post 7576. Being asked to be mayor of Vermilion has truly been the privilege of a lifetime, and overseeing the development of this legacy project has been an honor. Following Mayor Buelen, my job as mayor has really been pretty much just to be a traffic cop for the flow of people's funding, people's goodwill, and the volunteer hands that came to make the creation of Main Street Beach and Park. This is indeed the People's Park. Vermilion is legendary for its disproportionately large volunteer community. Technically, Vermilion's a small city by government terms, but separate from its size, people are what make Vermilion a small town on a great lake and give us the quality of life that we all enjoy. And people are what has made Main Street Beach and Park. So, here, we're going to get another one. I would now like to introduce one of our valued partners, Andy McDowell, who Eileen referred to, from the Western Reserve Land Conservancy. In both my professional life of 35 years and my time as mayor for almost 8, I have never worked with a more professional organization than Western Reserve Land Conservancy, and it has been a pleasure. Thank you. Andy?
Thank you, Jim. My name's Andy McDowell. I've been with the Land Conservancy for about 20 years. If you're not familiar with who we are and what we do, this project is a little bit different than most that we've worked on. We work all across Northeast Ohio. We work in about 30 counties. We do everything from preserving farmland to creating urban parks and green spaces to acquiring large tracts of land for wildlife and ecological purposes. We've been doing this for a long time, but our time here even predated Eileen a little bit, because the first phone call I got was at the end of 2006, and I had just gotten hired not long before that by a gentleman sitting in the back, Lee Halley. Lee Halley is really the one that got us started here, beginning with what is now Wakefield Metro Park down along the river over there. And we've been involved ever since. We've enjoyed it. We consider it to be one of our flagship projects. We're waiting for the next phase, Joe. What's going on? But I will say it came with a fair amount of challenges. Often when we're buying land for different county park districts, townships, municipalities, we're buying large tracts of land, sometimes hundreds of acres in size, with very ecologically rich wetlands, large expanses of forest. And those kind of projects really do well with the state and federal funding sources that we work with and that all of us contribute to for conservation dollars across the United States and here in the state of Ohio. Oftentimes with those kind of projects, we can write 1, 2 grants, work on those for a period of 1 or 2, 3 years, and the project's done, and it goes to whoever we're working for, whether it's a county park district or whoever. But when we first started working with the City of Vermillion, we knew it was going to take a lot of extra effort above and beyond the traditional funding sources that we work with. Yes, there was a lot of funding sources that really like this type of a park, this type of a property, this type of recreation and engagement. But we knew it had to have the right community to pull it all together. And that's where the City of Vermillion comes in. This is the kind of place where I come for my job. And even though I love my solitude, I'm an outdoorsman, I'm the kind of guy that wants to get in the middle of the forest and not see anybody for weeks if I can help it. But in terms of my job, what recharges me is this park. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten so frustrated with land acquisition projects we're working on, because believe me, yes, our taxpayer dollars go to good use when it comes to conservation projects, but when you're working with the government, well, it's the government, so it has its share of challenges. So sometimes I have to refresh myself and wonder, why am I doing what I'm doing? I've stopped down at this park many times, including today, whenever I got here. Walking down the beach, I see a bunch of teenagers playing a game that I don't think existed when I was a kid. I see, a bunch of young ladies laying out on the beach for whatever reason, I'm not sure. You see everybody and their brother down here. I mean, it's a place where kids come, where families come, grandparents with their kids, dogs chasing tennis balls. The elderly couple has been married for 70 years, going to enjoy a sunset on the beach. So it's one of those kind of things that needed a community behind it to really pull it all together. Yes, we aided a lot in acquiring a lot of state and federal funds for the mayor, both mayors, but it also took city council. City council was very involved in moving these projects along. Like I said, I've been involved from the beginning. City council was involved. City employees were heavily involved. Numerous communities were involved. The Land Conservancy acted as, I guess you could say, the holder of most of the private donations. They were sent to us. We had dollars coming in everywhere from $5 all the way up to thousands and thousands of dollars from individuals for this project. So everybody in this community has skin in the game. And what makes that even extra special is everybody's going to take pride in this park forever. When I came here, the first thing I did was I was taking pictures looking both ways, up and down one side and the other, because it's absolutely spectacular. The leadership of this city has done an excellent job, and like I said, we're waiting for the next phase, Jim. So, so with that, I'd like to introduce, who am I introducing? I didn't want to have my reading glasses on.
The wind is undefeated today.
Oh, but I do want to mention, yes. But it's a good segue, because of all the funding sources that we use, there are two that are local. One's local, one's state, that I want to acknowledge. ODNR was a terrific partner on this. They funded it through different strains, Division of Wildlife, the Office of Coastal Management, Watercraft. They were all involved in different phases of this project. But also I want to thank Erie Metro Parks. I don't think they're here today, but Erie Metro Parks, of course, had a significant role in different aspects of this project as well. So we can't do it without a lot of our government support. So I'd like to introduce a key donor. Oh, no, we went out of order. Stephen Schofner, Erie County Commissioner. Now, I will say, when we're doing projects, it's a lot easier to know I'm going in front of 3 county commissioners instead of a city council. But your county commissioners here in Erie County have been supportive of our work no matter what we've done, seriously. So with that, thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, access, right? That one single word is why we're all here today, to celebrate one of the most spectacular Lake Erie access points in the entire state of Ohio. At a time when lake access keeps shrinking, now I believe it's less than 17% of the shoreline of Lake Erie is actually accessible to the public, you all here have hit a home run that will secure this historic access for generations to come. The process needed to get us here today is a testament to all of you that are here today. You would not take no for an answer, and you always work together to realize the common goal shared by so many of creating better access to the lake. The history of Harbor Town. It's now a living history, thanks to all of the hard work and dedication that came from so many different people. The Vermilion Main Street Beach will be available forever to the public, and it will now take its place along so many other iconic landmarks that are found in Erie County. On behalf of a grateful county, please accept our heartfelt thanks for not only preserving, protecting, and expanding access to our greatest natural resource, but for working together and showing us all that if a common goal can unite us, nothing is out of our reach. Thank you to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, the City of Vermilion, Mayor Forthover and his administration, Mayor Bulin and hers, past and present City Council members, Vermilion Parks and Recreation, the Vermilion Chamber of Commerce, Erie Metro Parks, the State of Ohio, and the Department of Natural Resources. Access. That one single word now puts this location and all of this, including this picture postcard view, into the minds of local residents and visitors alike forever. Thanks again to all of you for making such a wonderful difference in our small corner of the world, our home. And now, we'd like to introduce
Okay, sorry, I have to sit.
I can come to you.
We'll come to you, buddy.
Can we back up a little bit so we don't get a squeal?
You got a boss.
Now I'd like to introduce a man who had a very instrumental part in this and family. And as Mayor Forthover mentioned, this is our community. This is your community. You guys care so much about making it better for not just you today, but for everybody. Larry Betcher.
Well done. Thank you very much. Isn't this fun? Isn't this an exciting and glorious celebration of our community's new park, testifying to the will and generosity of this town? I have a sentimental attachment to this place. As a boy, the highlight of my summer was to stay at my grandpa and grandma's farm in Lorain County, get up early in the morning. Get up in the morning. I need a coach. Get up early in the morning and head down to this, right to the end of Main Street here, with my grandfather's 1947 Dodge sedan, loaded up with fishing tackle and a picnic lunch, and spend the day at the end of the pier filling up a bushel basket full of white bass. White bass was very popular then. Anyway, we took that stuff home and my grandfather cleaned it and delivered it to all the neighbors on the farm. And so anyway, as we exited the car and went over to the end of the pier for fishing, I can tell you that the beach was littered with, seemed like acres of trash and logs and all kinds of flotsam that was washed down from up the river. It was kind of an unpleasant thing. And actually, the beach was not used that much for recreation at that time. I recall that in the early 1960s, mid-1960s, a group here in town by the name of Vermilion Junior Chamber of Commerce were looking for a community service activity. They elected to have a committee that was titled Cleaning Up Vermilion and Beautifying Vermilion. They went to civic organizations all over town and asked them to participate. Each of them were given a task, a certain part of town to clean it up. All stepped up to it and did a beautiful job. After a weekend of cleaning up the beach with tractors and bulldozers and front end loaders and the dump trucks, the beach looked then almost the way it does today. I forgot to tell you a little bit about the background of this wonderful place. Some of you know this story. It's kind of fun. Back in the turn of the century, was a very a good entrepreneur and manufacturer who decided to move his factory from Cleveland to Vermilion to manufacture brass lighting fixtures. It was a prosperous business. He was a yachter. He loved Lake Erie. He discovered this spot right here, decided to build a very substantial home for his family, and of course and he bought this property and the property all the way to the river. He was a civic-minded man, F.W. Wakefield, and he built the house in 1909, I think. Civic-minded man, and he decided that was this beautiful property where we're developing right now belonged to the public. So he decided to go uptown and talk to city fathers and ask them whether they would like to inherit this from him. They all rejected the idea; they didn't want anything to do with it. So anyway, the idea of a park started germinating at that point in time, and Mr. Wakefield was spurned from his idea, but anyway, as we see, it ultimately developed. One little things start to happen when a good idea starts to happen. It's kind of a multiplier effect. Little things start and it multiplies into something bigger. The Parks and Recreation Committee and this department in this town at one time was chairman by my wife Karen Betcher. They thought that maybe there should be some kind of little demonstration of what could happen here. So Karen and the group sponsored a beautiful bench down at the end of Main Street here, an observation bench. You've probably seen it before it's gone now, but it was a favorite place for people to just come, look out at the lake, see the freighters going across the horizon, enjoy what was here, and it was, for a lot of people, it was a special experience. Well, that's how how these things start. I have to tell you that one day, out of nowhere, Eileen Bulin confronted me, and she said, "Well, wouldn't it be nice to develop this park? But however, it's a big price tag. I need some. Would you just be interested in raising funds for this?" And I said, "Well." She didn't ask me. She told me to do this job, and so I sucked it up and decided to approach significant people in the community who would be able to, as Jim mentioned, make a significant contribution. The best part of it for me was that every single individual I asked said yes, and as a product of that, many thousands of dollars were raised. Many of the gifts were in thousands of dollars or more. Some were small, but many were significant in order to pull this thing off. I think that fund drive plus the generosity of the Wakefield family, which is significant, and the collaboration with the Metro Park system, the involvement of Western Reserve Lancashire, that you've heard from Andy today, it made this whole thing happen. We were very particularly blessed to have the creativity and the hard work of Dana Corrigan, who is here with us today, who in her committee who put together the pieces to make this all come together. They're following the master plan. If you everything you see happen here, they're sequentially making good things happen. We all owe a lot to Dana's creativity. So with that, I think we've done a good job, and we're very proud of ourselves. Jim, I hope I didn't embarrass myself too badly, David. Anyway, it's with that sentiment. Anyway, we can certainly comment that God bless America. Certainly, God has blessed Vermilion with this wonderful, wonderful new park. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Larry. I always learn something every time Larry talks. And, occasionally, my wife Susan over here and I will take a walk down here before dinner, after dinner, or something, and invariably we have visitors from out of town, and occasionally news media say something like, "This is beautiful. This is, the city really deserves some congratulations for doing this." And I said, it's not the city. Those baskets downtown, all the beauty in Vermilion. If you counted on the government to get this stuff done, you'd be waiting a long time. It's the people that step up in Vermilion, and if they see something worthwhile doing, they just do it. Now, as we close today, I'd like to announce that the revitalization of this People's Park is just about done at this point. In deference to Andy, I'm sure there will be other phases, but the charge of people in the future will be the custodian of this legacy spot. And they will be charged with not only preserving its lake access and its beauty, but preserving the memory of our own beginnings. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming, and I would like to ask the VFW Holland Bond Post 7576 and its commander, Mike Fasciana, to use their donation of a 60-foot flagpole to raise our nation's flag, which was donated by the Rue family. I also ask the Joe Price Brass Band to accompany them by playing our national anthem. If you can, would you please rise? Thank you, everyone.